I am tired of all these streaming apps.
Oh my God, what's wrong now?
$10 a month, $20 a month, and if you get the no ads plan, it's suddenly triple.
Ugh, yeah, that hurts.
I just want to listen to music without worrying about costs, shuffle it, hear surprises, pay less.
You can.
Wait, what?
This.
Oh, wow, I forgot this song even existed. What app is this?
No app. That's 98.9 The Bull. That's called radio.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the original Loretta Brown Show radio to heal the heart, open the heart, excuse me. Maybe my heart needs healing today, actually. Heal the soul, awaken the consciousness, and of course to hopefully give you a giggle.
Your heart never needs any healing, Loretta. Come on
so
now.
Sweet.
Come on. Although getting your words out, that's a little different. All right.
Blip, 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 blip.
It is kind of wild. Like, you've said it multiple times, obviously hundreds of times, and it's that one day you're like, oh, and it just kind of slips a little bit, and you're like, oh wait, gotta get back into it. It happens to the best of us.
It is that way. Yeah, it is that way. How are you doing today, Mr. Benny Matthews?
Doing very well. We're in May.
I know.
We're kicking it.
May Day.
Well, that was a little while ago, like not too long ago, but yeah,
a couple of days ago. Yeah, it's crazy. We have had some beautiful weather, and for those people that sometimes join me on Facebook, I went out and took a bunch of pictures of flowers.
Good.
And made a little video that somebody AI made the video for me, but I have never seen so many beautiful flowers. You know how sometimes it just hits you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And we have Mother's Day coming up, so maybe a nice bouquet for a mom or a loved mother in your around you would be nice too as well. So just
thank
an idea.
You. That was perfect, because I was gonna that's where I was headed.
Yeah.
And here you are, tapped in and tuned in, and we're just like on the same frequency.
What can I say?
Anyway,
it's a gift.
I know, it's a gift. Yeah. That is a gift. Yeah, so remembering our mothers and on this side and the other side.
Yes.
Mom, I always love you. Mwah, right? Mom was my very best audience for when I played the piano. And I come from a big family. I'm just reminding people, and I'm like I'm the little one. I'm the runt of the family.
Aww.
But I came out with a piano in my mouth, which let's not go there. Anyway, I like to play the piano from the time I was little. And so Mom would let me play the piano. People be like, make her shut up. And Mom would say, let her play the piano.
Yeah,
so,
just let her be here. Yeah.
So I'll play the piano for you on Sunday, Mom. You'll get it. Yeah. So anyway, I am Loretta Brown. I'm the owner of Reiki Oasis, located right here in the greater Seattle area. And there's always something fun going on over there. You can find out more at ReikiOasis.com. You can schedule at schedule.ReikiOasis.com. And you can go to Egypt with me. Woohoo! October 13th through the 26th, I take small groups of people on very sacred tours. This one's really special. And if you're into transmissions, meditations, activations, finding out about your past life in Egypt, you might want to come along with me. And we do private tours. It is top shelf. I only have 6 places left. If you want to come, email me at ReikiOasis@gmail.com. I'll get you all the information and we will get you in. And a reminder, the last Saturday of every month at 10 o'clock in the morning, I do a gong bath. I have to laugh every time. I love it so much. And yes, gong baths and sound baths and all kinds of wonderful things. So do check it out. And I have such a great guest today. You're going to love this show. You got to stick around. I'm going to jump into astrology real quick. And then we're going to bring Dr. Scott Taylor on, because you're going to be riveted by everything he has to say. So this week's astrology is deeply aligned with today's conversation about near-death experiences, shared death experiences. Ooh, what is that? Consciousness. Am I conscious? Yes. And what lies beyond the physical realm. We're still integrating the powerful Scorpio full moon from May 1st, which opened the month with themes of transformation, release, emotional truth, Ooh, and the unseen realms. Scorpio always asks us to look beneath the surface into what is hidden, buried, or ready to be transformed. And I don't know about you, but a lot of my clients have been really emotional, lots of deep stuff coming out to the surface, beginnings, endings. It's pretty intense. On May 2nd, Mercury, the planet of communication, moved into grounded Taurus, where it will remain until May 17th. Now, this is not Mercury retrograde, but it might feel a little bit like it. Mercury is in one of its most grounded and practical placements. So this placement slows the mind down and helps us speak more deliberately. Apparently, that wasn't working for me just yet, and supports common sense, embodied wisdom, and thoughtful reflection. And after so much fiery, fast-moving energy in April, this could be a welcome shift. Personally, it is asking us, what do I truly value? What do I know in my body and not just in my mind? And globally and economically, Mercury in Taurus brings conversations around money, resources, food, land, stability, and practical decisions. Also this week on May 4th, Mars in Aries squared Jupiter in Cancer. Mars brings action, courage, and sometimes conflict. Jupiter expands whatever it touches. Hopefully that's not our waistline. So this can create enthusiasm and bold movement, but it can also magnify emotional reactions, family concerns, national identity issues, and financial or security-related decisions. So it's that feeling of wanting to push forward, but needing to remember, wait a minute, let me take a breath and use some emotional wisdom. Also this week on May 5th, Mercury in Taurus squared Pluto in Aquarius, bringing intense conversations, hidden truths, deeper psychological insight. This is a transit that can expose what has been avoided in relationships, finances, institutions, media, and technology. This is what's called grounded truth. No more fantastical thinking. Go take a look at your budget. Go talk about that thing in your relationship. Pluto in Aquarius asks, who holds power in systems, networks, and collective structures? This is an excellent energy for research. Can also feel mentally heavy. Some people have been really tired. Yesterday, Pluto stationed retrograde in Aquarius at 5 degrees. It's one of the major shifts of the week because we've been having all planets direct for weeks. Well, now Pluto's going to be retrograde until October 15th of this year. Pluto is the planet of death, rebirth, power, shadow, and transformation. And in Aquarius, this retrograde turns our attention toward technology, AI, community, social systems, and the future of humanity. So on the world stage, bigger questions around, once again, who controls information? Who is benefiting from technology? And are we keeping our consciousness ahead of the evolution of AI? Boy, that's a show in itself. By Sunday, May 10th, the sun in Taurus is going to form a supportive sextile to Jupiter in Cancer. And so Sunday, May Day, is going to be one of the most generous, stabilizing aspects of the week. It supports growth, family healing, nourishment. It's a great day to get together. It's a great day to celebrate mom and each other. And it's softer. It's going to be a softer day, especially after this week. I think we all need it. Get together, sing some songs, have a good time. And then around May 12th or 13th, Mercury in Taurus will begin harmonizing with Jupiter in Cancer and bring clearer communication. So overall, the theme of this week is transformation, followed by grounding, where once again, we're being asked to look beneath the surface, reclaim our power, and return to what is real, steady, loving, and enduring. And so that's a beautiful platform to bring in my guest today, my wonderful conversation. I can't wait. Dr. Scott Taylor, because the deeper questions of this astrology is, so what if consciousness doesn't end, but simply changes form? My guest today, Dr. Scott Taylor, is a shared near-death experiencer, a researcher, a spiritual teacher, and president of the Expanded Awareness Institute. After a profound shared near-death experience, which he's going to tell us about, so you know what that is, he found himself in a situation where, let's say he had to kind of explore it. I can't wait to hear what he has to say. So he dedicated his life to exploring the nature of consciousness and the non-physical universe. He has developed safe methods for others to access these realms through meditation and expanded awareness. He has 7 meditation albums. Dr. Taylor has served as president and executive director of the Monroe Institute. He's also affiliated with the International Association for Near-Death Studies, and he's the creator of the Into the Light meditation series. His work offers not just theory, but living experience, inviting us to ask, what is consciousness really? Welcome to the show, Dr. Scott Taylor. I am really excited to have you here.
Oh, Loretta, I have been looking forward to our conversation. So we're going to have a great time. The astrology that you outlined is just perfect for our conversation today. So thank you for having me on.
Yes, and thank you for that the stars aligned for you somehow. There was some hand in it, I think. Yeah, maybe
There
from the
are
other
no
side.
coincidences. No, sir. No.
No. I want to start out by just asking kind of a curious question. It's kind of my question. After everything that you've experienced in the light, what do you now know about life that most people still don't realize?
Wow. The light is the loving consciousness of the universe. It is fundamental and causal, which means that everything in the physical universe comes out of that consciousness of light. And every molecule, every energy pattern, it all comes out of consciousness. And that consciousness is where we are birthed from. So it makes a huge difference when we talk about who are we as beings, because we are literally made up of that light of the universe, which means we can never, ever be separated from it because we are it. We are part of it. So this is a wonderful blessing that comes out of this research and the experience that people have exploring it is that they discover they are one with the divine and are an aspect of the divine. So they can give themselves a break, you know?
Yeah, I love that. That actually makes me have a whole bunch of other questions because, like people are like, what is the light? How do you get to the light? What's the point of the light? Okay, right, all of that. But before we go further into that, I want to back up just a little bit. I would really
Sure.
love for you to tell people basically your story. Now, I've had a couple of near-death experiences, and my joke is sometimes I see dead people, right? But you have had what's called a shared death experience. So, what is a near-death experience? And please share what is the shared death experience? Please share your experience.
All right. Near-death experiences, the typical sequence of events is that something traumatic happens to the physical body, so bad that the our soul, our non-physical consciousness leaves the body, goes up into the light, has an adventure, and then the miracle workers here on the planet, with paddles or whatever, they reanimate the physical body, and the soul comes back and integrates once again with the physical body, and they're able to tell about what happened to them while they were on this adventure. Shared death experiences are close to that, but not exactly. Um, so I'll tell you my experience, which is a shared death experience.
yeah.
But the idea behind a shared death experience is that you are present and invited by the person who's actually making their transition to go with them into the light. And so you'll hear mine. I was sitting bedside when Nolan left his physical body for the last time, and I went with he and his mother into the light where we had a shared experience of being in the light together. And then they went further into the light, and I came back to my physical body. But so in a shared death experience, I'm just fine. Thank you. But it's the other person who's making their final transition. This is it for them. And as such, we are able to experience what a true transition is. Near death experiences they're really close, but they're designed for us to learn something and then come back. In a shared death experience, we get to be with those who are making their final transition, and we can witness it, and or sometimes we can experience it with them, so they will actually share all of their emotions and their connection with the divine as they go through the experience. So, Loretta, you want me to tell my story now?
I do. I was going to ask for details. I'm that girl. I want to know. Yeah, tell me every little bit.
It was 1981, and I my girlfriend Mary Frances, who I love dearly, and her son Nolan, who had just turned 7, had spent the day on Lake Washington in southern Minnesota sailing. And on their way home from sailing, they were involved in a horrific car accident. And Mary Fran was killed outright. And Nolan had a severe head wound, and it took him 6 days to make his transition. Luckily, we lived in southern Minnesota, and so both Mary Fran and Nolan were taken to the Mayo Health Systems in Rochester, so they received, the best health care on the planet. But Nolan's injuries were such that he couldn't survive. That 6 days between the accident happening and his transition wound up being important because Mary Fran was one of 9 kids. You'd get that coming from a big family. She was number 3. And so all the members of her family had time to travel and gather to hold vigil for Nolan. And it wasn't just her siblings and parents, but it was uncles and aunts. It was boyfriends and girlfriends and husbands and neighbors. It was a big group, 50 plus. And it was so many that we had to divvy it up. And every 2 hours, 2 of us would go in and be with Nolan. The nurse on the floor was really clear that it was important for us to talk to Nolan, even though he was in a coma and he would never come out of the coma. She said, is more than likely he has the ability to hear what you're saying. And so if you would go in and talk to him, then he'll feel connected with the family, and you can tell him whatever it is you want. And so we all drew straws. And as it turns out, my straw was on between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. on the morning of the 6th day. So when it got to be that time, Mary Fran's oldest sibling, Janny, and I entered into the room. We brought with us his favorite book, which we read to him. And then we started, oh, Loretta, we started telling him stories about his uncles who at midnight had gone throughout the Mayo Health System and stolen all the cushions off of the couches and brought it back to the waiting room so they could put them on the floor so people had a place to be comfortable as they're waiting because there weren't enough chairs. And so it was funny. And and then Janny, who was an emergency room nurse, um, went to the end of his bed and looked at the charts and then looked at the myriad of monitors that were surrounding Nolan. And she held her hand out to me and said, Scott, it's time to say goodbye. So we pulled up a couple chairs next to his head and we told him that we were so proud of him, that he had really fought hard to be with us here in the physical world. But if his mother, remember, she died 6 days before, but if his mother should come to pick him up, that would be the right thing to do, that he should go with his mother if she asked. We told him that we loved him dearly and that he would be always in our hearts. At this point, it's now 6 o'clock and our shift, or 5 o'clock, and our shift is over, and we exit, and the new shift came in. Well, it was about 45 minutes later when the nurse came in and said, "It's time. His vitals are decreasing rapidly." And so this whole crowd goes into this small hospital room, and as it turns out, I'm one of the last ones in. And so by the time I get there, it's like 4 deep around the bed. I said, well, that's silly. So I went over and I just sat on the windowsill next to Mary Fran's brother, Willie, and we just waited. Well, the heart monitor, you can watch it and it just goes slower and slower and slower and slower. And eventually it flatlined. And when it did, what I experienced was Mary Fran coming across the veil and scooping Nolan up out of his physical body. And they had this most exquisite reunion, as you could probably only imagine, between a mother and son. And it surprised me, Loretta, because I was able to feel what they were feeling.
Wow.
And then what surprised me even more was that the two of them turned to me, came over, embraced me, and then the three of us left and went into the light. And the light is extraordinary. It is this space of divine love and acceptance, and it's like you're connected to everything in the universe, and you understand that we are all this one being. And actually, none of that mattered, because what was important to me was I was there with Mary Fran and Nolan, and we had a chance to affirm our love and connection to each other. We had a chance to say a proper goodbye because I wasn't anywhere near the accident when it happened. And then I had a chance just to hang out with him for a while. And we did. And at some point, it became complete. It just felt complete. And Mary Fran and Nolan turned and went further into the light. And I stayed for a moment and then went back into my physical body, sitting next to Willie on the windowsill. So that's the end of part A of my story. I've got two short other parts.
Yes.
You want me to continue?
Yes.
Or you? Okay.
Yes. I have to cry a moment, but it's a very heart-touching story. I really appreciate you sharing it. Yeah, I want to hear more. Yes, please.
So I'm sitting there on the windowsill next to Willie, and when I come back into my physical body, I realize that my consciousness has been split. I have been in the let me put it this way. 100% of my consciousness was with Mary, Fran, and Nolan, and 100% of it was in the room with all of the grieving relatives. And I say it like that because it's not a 50-50 split. It's I am fully present in both locations. I didn't have a word for it then because I grew up in the Presbyterian church and they don't talk about that kind of thing. And but I call it bilocation now. It's just I was there and I was in the room. And I know this because as I'm sitting there next to Willie, it's as if the ecstasy, the loving joy of the universe is breaking out of my body, and my face is just one, it's ecstatic. It just, I have this huge grin on my face. And if anybody had looked at me, it would have been entirely inappropriate because, Mary Fran had died 6 days before and Nolan had just passed. And if they looked at me and I'm all happy. So I did the only thing I could think of, which was to cover my face with my hands and just be there for a while until those both parts of me could be together and I could regain enough composure that I could do what you do with other grieving people.
Right.
You hug and you cry on each other's shoulders and, you comfort each other. So that's part B. Part C, we have to flash forward about 15 years. And I'm at the University of St. Thomas, which is the largest private university in Minnesota. And I'm getting my doctorate in education, and I'm writing my dissertation on near-death experiences. And I need people to interview. And I send a letter to Mary Fran's family because all of the daughters in the family had some flavor of healthcare they wound up in. And I said, can you help me find people to interview? Can you point me in the right direction? Something. Well, anyway, one of them, Lolly, called me back and said, Scott, I had a near-death experience about 5 years ago, and do you want to interview me? Well, heck yeah. So we did, interviewed, and at the end of the interview, I'm packing up my recorder and my notepads and all that stuff. This thought hits me. And I look at Lolly and I go, when Nolan passed away, something really unusual happened to me. I'm wondering if something unusual happened to you too. And her eyes just got big as saucers. And she says to me, yeah. So I quickly reassembled my recording equipment. And I said, I tell you what, you tell me your story, and then I'll tell you mine, and we'll compare notes. This is what she told me. She said, Scott, I remember this very well. I'm standing bedside across from you. You were sitting on the windowsill next to Willie. I said, yep, that's right. And said, when Nolan flatlined, what I experienced was Mary Fran coming across the veil, scooping Nolan up out of his physical body. The two of them had this exquisite reunion. Then the two of them turned to me, embraced me being Lolly. They embraced me, and the three of us left and went into the light where we had a chance to affirm our love and affection for each other. We had a chance to say goodbye, and we had a chance just to be together for a while until it felt complete. And they turned and went into the light, and I came back to my physical body. Loretta, it was almost identical words to my experience. And so in that instant, any doubt that I had about the reality of this situation, because in 1981, nobody had heard of near-death experiences hardly, let alone a shared death experience. All that doubt just evaporated. And the same thing happened for Lolly. She was wondering if it was, if she'd read a book or if she had watched a movie or, some other influence had come in but no. So from that moment on, both of us have felt
Wow.
really solid in this really happened, and we can take that and use it in our lives in a way, because it certainly was a gift from the both of them.
That's like, wow, what an amazing story. And uh, I had never heard of the shared death experience, right, until I ran across you. And I'm just sitting here with my mouth hanging open. I wonder how many other people experienced it and never said anything,
Oh,
right?
a ton. um, Especially shared death experiences has now in the last 3 years come on the world stage. A researcher by the name of William Peters wrote a book it's called At Heaven's Door, that details his experience of interviewing 900 people and who had shared death experience. So the academic research on this is really good, and it's really tight. And now people, once they've heard about it, they went, "Oh, that happened to me too." And it's interesting because there are more than one ways to have a shared death experience. Meaning, for me, I was bedside, and the two of them invited me to go with them. However, that's the minority. It's like only 40% of the shared death
Mm.
experiences are like that. Most of
Mhm.
them are long distance, where, mom's in Seattle, I'm in Virginia, and she passes, but I know it and can go with her. And it also happens in that hypnagogic state in dreams, that, the loved one can come in and, say, "Loretta, just here, I wanted to let you know that I'm doing great. Everything is just fine. I am so glad to lose that body that's full of cancer and pain, and can now, you know, truly be with you always." Messages like that. So there's lots of different ways that shared death experiences can happen. And now we know that you can actually program it, you can arrange for it. So, shared death experiences, why do they happen to some people and not others? Just like near death experiences. Some people have them, some people don't. Well, with a shared death experience, um, you have to be open. I mean, you can't be driving a car, talking, or actively grieving or something. You need to be quiet and available. And then there needs to be a heart connection with the person. So for me, the heart connection was certainly with Nolan, and of course with, his mother. So I've got a double. And so there needs to be a lovely heart connection. And then, probably the most important is that the invitation needs to come from the one person making the transition. So in my story, that's Mary Fran and Nolan coming over, embracing me, and inviting me to go with them. It's very difficult to do it the other way around. Um, my take on it is that when they embraced me, they changed my vibratory level to that of the world they were in. And so it was an easy shift. They just came
Mhm.
and off we go. If it's the other way around and I'm trying to guess what vibratory level they're at, what's the
Mm.
chances?
Mm.
So those are the three things that are required. Um, and then what William Peters started doing is teaching people how to do that. And it's as simple as saying, like my wife Ann and I, um, you say, like, pick a moment in your life that is really important. And when you are having your life review, it is likely to show up. So for us, we had met earlier in our lives, but we reconnected on the corner of 11th and LaSalle in downtown Minneapolis, right there in the street corner. And that moment is indelibly etched in our memory. And so when the life review happens, say that I'm the first one to go. So I'm making my final transition. When I get to that part of my life review where we are meeting at the corner, that's my cue to reach back into the physical world and pick up Anne and say, hey, remember what we agreed on? It's time. Come on with me. We're going to have an adventure. So um, that's a lovely thing because it's conscious, it's intentional, and you get a chance to um, witness what it is that they go through. And you can, and it happens two ways. Some people who this happens with, they're observers, and they're kind of step back and they watch their loved one go through the various stages of reunion, and they have a life review, and they get to meet a divine being and go to the reception center and to their home in the park. They can observe all those. Or what happened more similarly to me is that consciousness was shared. So I get to experience everything that Mary Fran and Nolan experience because they have invited me in to do that. And so you get your choice.
I have some questions, and wow, I love this conversation so much. I'm like, okay, so I have a couple of things I want to ask, and I know you'll tie them in. I want to talk about two different things. So before my father passed away, um, I woke up early in the morning around 4 o'clock, that in between space. And
Yep.
I was like, oh, he's standing next to my bed and I'm kind of sleepy and please leave me alone. And what he said was, he said, okay, if I go now. And there's kind of a backstory to that because I had a few months earlier taken a trip to India and I had made a bargain with him. He couldn't go and I was not in the country. I wasn't okay. So anyway, that happened. And then I went back to sleep and then I went, what? Huh? Wait a minute. Hold on. And then the phone rings, and I was informed that he had passed. Um, in that kind of an incident, that's not really a shared death experience, right?
Oh,
Or is
um,
it?
I I would consider that a yes, a mini shared death experience.
Okay.
Some people call it an after death communication, um, but certainly one that ties in something between the two of you, like,
Right.
Loretta, can you let me go now? Heavy on the sarcasm.
Yes, that's my dad.
So to me, that is, like a little brief, because they don't need to be long in order to have that
Right.
connection.
Okay.
And the part I didn't say is that shared death experience can happen before, during, or after they
Oh,
leave.
okay. All
When
right.
I had a second experience when my dad left 2 years ago, and it happened 2 days before I went with him when he made his transition, but it was 2 days before the physical world transition, which is not unusual. And if you think about it, the non-physical world doesn't have time. Once we leave our physical bodies, time just is all present. So, you know, they could look back and go, he's available right now. Let's use it. Let's do it. So, and I'm sorry, I interrupted you. What was your second one?
No, I'll come back to my second because we're talking about dads, and you talked about your dad passed away a couple of years ago. So you had another shared death experience with him. Do you want to share that more completely?
Um, how much time do I have?
Oh, I don't know. we've got, what time is it? We got 10, 15 minutes or so. Not quite 10, 8. Yeah.
Okay.
15, 12. I don't know.
So I get a call from my mom, and she says, Scott, you know about this death stuff, right? I said, yeah. Yeah, Mom, I know a lot about it. Why? And she said, well, the hospital called, or the nursing home called, and said it's going to be soon. And I would like, you know, Dad to have uh, an easy transition. Can you help make that happen? And I said, well, sure. I'll give it a whirl. And so I went into a meditative state, and I took myself, I'm here in Virginia, and I took myself to the hospital room. I'm sorry, the home in the nursing home where he was. And he was lying on his bed. I'm standing at his head, and all of a sudden there's this bright light that comes in the corner of the room, and it just opens up. And when it opens up, there is like his father's side of the family was on one side of the light, his mother's side of the family was on the other side, and behind them were like my mother's relatives, and running out of the light was his sister who died 10 years before. And she's about 12 years old ish. And she's just so excited to see Dad. And then bounding behind her into my dad's presence were all of the dogs that he had owned.
Oh.
He was an avid duck hunter, and he
Oh.
had, I don't know, 6, 8 dogs, something, and they're all named Shooter.
Of course they are.
But it was just easier that way.
Yeah,
It's all
sure.
these dogs are bounding around, and his sister is there, and Dad lifts up out of his body, and they kind of envelop and walk him into the light. And I'm just following along. Well, my Uncle Ed is standing at the rise of this small hill, and this whole crowd is walking Dad up to the top of the hill where my uncle is standing and saying, "Hey, Brett, it's time for us to go hunting. I got all your gear. Let's go." So Uncle Ed gets in a boat and he pulls out one way. Dad gets in his boat. He puts on his hunting gear and he pulls his way out. And you got all of these dogs in this little bitty boat. So he stops at a muskrat house and he dumps the dogs off and he says, "You watch for the ones I'll shoot, and then you can come get them." And they all, yeah, 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 yeah. So he plants himself in some weeds so he can hide from the ducks that are coming in. And just as he gets himself settled, the sun starts to set. And this is beautiful golden rays just coming across the water at him. And it's at sunrise and sunset that ducks move between water and land. So at sunset, they're coming from the land where they've eaten all day, and they're coming to land in the water where they'll be safe at night. And usually, when ducks fly, they'll travel in packs of 2 to 8, small little groups. The air was filled with ducks. And if you know anything about ducks, they have these iridescent feathers on their wings.
Yeah, they do.
And when you have that setting sun hit the iridescent color of their wings, the sky just turned into magic. And all of them around. And it's incredibly loud because the ducks making all this crazy noise. Coming and they're landing all around him. And there's my dad, not interested in his gun. He's just standing there in awe. The sun sets. And then some kind of being, ill-defined, it's more like an energy source, comes and picks him up and takes him into this black void. And I get to go with him as he goes into this black void. And it is that space of source of all creation. It's where everything comes from. And the words that are in my head are, "A hunter come home."
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just,
Wow.
um,
Wow. Yes.
again,
Mm-hmm.
I get to touch that space again.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
reinforces something that not many people know about, which is, going back to your first question. When people have a shared death experience or a near death experience, usually they enter one of three colors of light: white, black, or clear.
Mm.
The white light we see all the time on television, right? It's a
Yes.
big, powerful light that you enter into, and it has it's that compassion. It's just this deep, abiding compassion for the person. And the cool thing about that light, those who have described it to me, is that when they entered the light, some of the smart ones looked around to see if there was a shadow, and there wasn't one. That's
Okay.
because they entered the light and they became the light. Because, and then there wouldn't be a shadow because they're not any different than the light that surrounds them. So that's white light. Black light is what happened to my dad. It is the source of loving consciousness that everything comes out of. That that is the origins of everything that is in the universe. Clear light is what happened to me, which is, where if we were to have one right now, if you were going to be in the clear light, what you would experience is that everything around you would begin to glow with its own light, and you would recognize that everything is made up of light,
Okay.
and that you are one with that light. So it's a unity experience on steroids. It's just,
Yeah.
we are all part of this light. So white, black, or clear. Um, you get your choice, and the kinds of experiences that people have are markedly different based on what they enter. And for near death experiencers who have some sort of lesson to learn or experience that needs to happen to them before they come back into the physical world, the type of experience is that of the light, whatever the quality of the light is.
Um, I'm going to save my one question because I've got some other things that I'm being told to ask you. I want, I'll just throw both things out to make sure we cover them. You have an amazing meditation albums out there. I think people would really want to know about that. What are those meditations? What?
So there's a quick story behind it.
Okay.
After I finished my doctoral degree and wrote my dissertation, took 3 years to write it. What you do as a newly minted doctor is you take your dissertation and you turn it into a popular book that people could read. And I'm working on this thing and I can't get anywhere. I really can't get anywhere. It's
Wow.
not forming itself in my head. And as I'm struggling with the outline, this voice, clear as a bell. I've only had this happen twice in my life. This is the first time. A voice says to me, "Scott, there are enough books written about near death experiences. People don't need another book. What they need is the experience." So I have been, as part of the after effects of my shared death experience, I traveled the world and tried all of these different things to see if I could go back to Mary, Fran, and Nolan in the light, because I knew if I did it once, I could do it again. I just had to figure out how. Well, I did. And it was through um, the research of Bob Monroe at the Monroe Institute and binaural beats. I became a trainer for them, learned how that system works, and then I used it on the cosmology of people who've had near-death experience. So I teach people how to meditate and enter into those vibratory states that are specific to the part of the near-death experience that you would like to visit, like leaving your body, going down the tunnel, the reunion with relatives, the reunion with a divine being, the regeneration center, the area of life between lives. Where do we hang out? Each one of them has a very unique vibratory set, and with the use of binaural beats and a simple meditation protocol, you can go there, and you don't have to have the trauma of your physical body dying, which I highly recommend that you do not do.
Right.
You can do it gently, and you can do it at your pace, and you can have your guides, your angels, your whatever, your higher self. They can help you in this experience so that you go where you want to go and you get the kind of lessons or the wisdom that you need in your life right now. So, yes, I thank you for that nice advertisement about liking them, because it's an extraordinary adventure and people get a lot out of it.
Well, and I mentioned before the show that I had a friend who brought it up this week and said, there's this conference going on in Bellevue in August, Loretta. It's about, blah, blah. And this guy has these meditations and you can go experience this thing. And I go, what? Yeah. So, and then here you are on my show, which was arranged before I had that conversation. So where can people find these meditations? Because I know there are people who would love to experience this and know more about it.
To find out about that or to contact me, go to my website, neardeathmeditations.com. Easy peasy. All the stuff is there. Neardeathmeditations.com.
Yeah. And tell us a little bit about the conference, because I am going to come and meet you. I'm going to hang out. Yeah.
So it takes place over 4 days. It's just ahead of Labor Day, so it's that weekend. And we have workshops and terrific speakers. Oh my gosh, this year we have Alex Ferrari and we have Eben Alexander and we have Anita Morjani. They are like, just legends in our world. Plus a whole bunch of others. Then there's breakout sessions. There's an enormous healing center, so people can work with psychics and Reiki healers and all these different modalities. But my favorite part of the whole thing is about half the people who attend have had near-death experiences, and I get to talk to them.
Yeah.
And I get to hang out and go, you guys are my tribe.
Yeah.
And they get it. You sit there and go,
I love it.
You don't have to explain that to me. I understand.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things is to hang out with a whole bunch of weirdos or dead people. It's just so much fun. You should try it, right?
Yeah.
We are at the end of our time, which is ridiculous, Dr. Scott Taylor. So great to have you on the show. Last words to everybody out there.
This whole thing about studying near-death experiences and about trying to experience it, it's not really about going out there and discovering the non-physical. It's really about discovering the wisdom of that non-physical universe and bringing it back into our lives here in the physical. We're not trying to escape anything. What we're trying to do is to live life more consciously and connected with the divine, so that this becomes and a growth experience for me and for everyone that I touch.
Yeah. Yes, to everything you just said. And yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Scott Taylor, for being on my show today. And everybody have a great week. Enjoy your families, your mothers, make up with each other, kiss, hug, sing a song. And Benny Mathers, you are absolutely the best. Mwah. Love to everybody.